The flight test of SpaceX's Starship SN10 is just around the corner. Starship SN10 will be the third full-scale Starship prototype to undergo a high-altitude flight test. Its predecessors, SN8 and SN9, both had a stable flight and tested various flight components of the rocket. However, unfortunately, both of them could not land successfully. So by this point, you might know how SpaceX works. What they basically do is that they keep testing these prototypes, and during every test, they gather a huge amount of valuable data. After analyzing the test data, they can make the necessary hardware and software changes in the future prototypes so that they can perform better than the previous ones. So naturally, SN10 is kind of an evolved version of Starship SN8 and SN9. So in this video, we'll take a closer look at two major changes in Starship SN10 when compared to its predecessors. First and foremost is the flight termination system. An explosive-based flight termination system, or FTS, was installed on Starship SN10 on February 28th. In the event that Starship loses control and strays past a certain point outside its approved trajectory, that FTS would explode, breaching the rocket's propellant tank, triggering a vehicle breakup and thus preventing it from harming any local population. However, you might know that SpaceX evacuates the whole village before the test flight for safety reasons. So adding a flight termination system is not going to save anyone because there is no one to be saved. But after hours and hours of research, it turns out that a rocket crash landing on an empty village is still very bad. Sure, it will be great show of fireworks, but blowing up other people's homes is something that SpaceX and Elon Musk surely won't like to do. However, looking at the historical data, the Starship prototypes have done pretty good job at sticking to their planned trajectory. If there was any major problem with Starship's flight computer, it would have been caught during SN8's flight itself. So there is a very low probability that a flight termination system would be triggered. But it's better to be safe than sorry. The second major change in Starship SN10 is its landing approach. SN8 and SN9 both suffered catastrophic landing failures, and both failed in a very unique way. SN8's failure was due to a problem with Starship's fuel system, where the methane header tank lost pressure, which in turn couldn't efficiently power the Raptor engines. On the other hand, SN9's failure was purely due to a Raptor engine malfunction, where one of the two Raptor engines, which were set to ignite for the flip maneuver, just didn't ignite, causing SN9 to land belly first. I've already discussed about Starship's landing problems and a possible solution in a previous video. Do consider watching it after this one. So SN10 is going to reignite all the three Raptor engines for the flip maneuver of the landing phase. This increases the reliability of the Starship and also increases the redundancy of the landing phase. Actually, a Starship requires only two Raptor engines for the flip maneuver. But as we have seen in the past, Raptors are still evolving, so relighting three engines and then switching back to two makes a lot of sense. When performing the flip maneuver with three Raptor engines, Starship will effectively perform a mid-air static fire for a few seconds. This will give SN10's flight computer enough time to analyze the data from the Raptor engines and switch to two of the healthiest ones for the final phase of landing. In case all the three Raptor engines perform nominally, the Raptor engine with the least lever arm will be shut down. This essentially means that the engine with the least amount of torque will be shut down, in this case the levered engine as shown in the illustration. Building on the failures from SN8 and SN9, it is safe to say that SN10 has the best shot yet at sticking the landing. Looking at the schedule, it is highly likely that SN10 will launch today, that is March 3rd. However, there are backup dates for March 4th and 5th as well. All said, Starship SN10 might well become the first Starship prototype to successfully complete the high altitude flight test. What do you think? Will the changes made in Starship SN10 actually result in a successful landing? Do let me know in the comment section. As always, if you like the content, do consider subscribing the channel. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.